These days, there is a dizzying number of chat and communication apps for your smartphone or tablet. I mean, it only takes a couple of seconds to open up the App Store or the Play Store and find literally dozens of offerings that all promise to be the best, most fun, and most intuitive way to do essentially the same thing. Send messages, photos, or short videos to your friends. Or enemies, as it were. But all of the modern programs we use to stay in touch that are more or less carbon copies of each other are the product of decades of evolution from predecessors that were dramatically different. So while email is often considered to predate modern instant messaging by a fair margin, they actually didn't first appear all that far apart from each other. The modern form of email that uses the familiar @ sign was invented back in 1971 on the old ARPANET, a US military network that was one of the forerunners of the internet. And real-time online chat became a reality just 2 years later in 1973 when the archetypically retro-sounding Talk-O-Matic was created at the University of Illinois. Although Talk-O-Matic only featured 6 rooms of up to 5 users each, the functionality was similar to modern chat rooms, including the IRC system with its large number of channels that appeared a decade and a half later in 1988. And there have been other improvements. Like typewriters, Talk-O-Matic punished users for typos because it transmitted individual keystrokes as they were input, meaning that all your elite hacker buddies would know instantly if you didn't know how to correctly spell diarrhea. Fun fact too, Talk-O-Matic is actually still available as a modern website if you'd like to check out a piece of internet history. But online chat quickly outgrew small groups communicating directly, and many were more interested in seeing what larger groups of people were discussing more generally. That's where using a phone modem to connect to a bulletin board system, or BBS, comes in. It's pretty much what it sounds like. After logging in, you could see what other folks posted to a virtual bulletin board and make your own contributions if you wanted to weigh in, much like modern web message boards or forums. The first BBS was launched in Chicago all the way back in 1978, providing a place for open online discussion well before the rise of the World Wide Web, and they proved to be very versatile. In fact, people began using BBSs for file sharing as well, meaning they became very popular in the early 1990s. However, during the web's explosive growth soon after, the BBS scene was nearly forgotten by the late 90s, though it continues to be popular in Taiwan for some reason. And speaking of continuing to be popular, the venerable Usenet, developed at Duke University all the way back in 1980, still has a considerable, if not large, following to this day. Usenet is organized into topical sections called news groups that allow users to post both articles and replies. Kind of similar to how Reddit works today. Except instead of being hosted on one server, Usenet is much more distributed, with articles and replies pushed out to many different news servers, and special Usenet clients required for access. This is because Usenet isn't part of the web. Like BBSs, Usenet later came to be used for file transfers, which is the most popular reason people access the network today, as actual discussion is much more common on web-based services, though many ISPs no longer offer access to Usenet due to concerns about illegal file sharing. Of course, things really changed in the mid-90s with the rise of instant messaging programs for modern graphical operating systems, like ICQ and, more notably, AOL Instant Messenger, or AIM, which took the world by storm with its buddy icons and angsty user bios replete with inside jokes, thanks in no small part to all of those promotional discs that AOL sent out via snail mail. AIM had plenty of rivals on the instant messaging scene, but remained very popular until the late 2000s when Gmail became widespread and offered integrated GChat, helping to set a trend that saw a myriad of websites and smartphone apps implement instant messaging, with everything from business-oriented video conferencing software to dating websites like OkCupid getting into the swing of things. And with standard internet speeds becoming faster and faster from both cell phone providers and traditional ISPs, it didn't take long for picture and video messaging to become common in IM applications, with some programs like Apple's FaceTime for video and Snapchat, initially pictures but now video as well, focusing almost exclusively on it. No word yet, though, on when we'll have support for holographic messaging, so you can give your friends a 360-degree view of whatever trendy food you just spent way too much money on for the sole purpose of sending a picture of it to them. Speaking of sending to them, TunnelBear VPN allows you to send out your internet traffic and have the websites and services you use not know exactly where it came from. There, that was quite belabored, but we eventually got there. TunnelBear VPN is easy to use and lets you tunnel through up to 20 different countries, letting you browse the internet and use online services as though you are in a different country. They have easy-to-use apps for iOS, Android, PC, and Mac, also a Chrome extension. You just turn the switch and boom, you are tunneled, your connection is encrypted, and you appear to those websites as though you are from somewhere else entirely. TunnelBear lets you bypass all the annoying details that typically come with using a VPN for personal use, no messing around with port configurations or DNS or anything like that, and they have a top-rated privacy policy. So try out TunnelBear for free with 500 megabytes thrown in for nothing and no credit card required. And if you choose to get a year of unlimited data, you can save 10% by going to tunnelbear.com/Linus, linked below. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, dislike, check out our other videos, leave a comment if you have suggestions for future ones, and don't forget to subscribe.